Hello, welcome to Indonesia. I'm Amanda Katili, Chair of Omar Niode Foundation and Manager of Climate Reality Indonesia. Our country consists of 17,508 islands, 98 cities, 83,000 villages, even more. And then there are more than 750 languages, more than 1,000 ethnic groups, and our population is 270 million people. So we are one of the world's richest nations in terms of its cultural diversity and biodiversity, mostly endemic species. Indonesia is also famous for its spice islands. By looking at the geographical positions and understanding of the cultural and biological diversity, you can already imagine the food ingredients and the culinary types. We have an amazing speaker lineup today that will give you some ideas about the food system in Indonesia, beginning with women as stakeholders, continuing with sustainable food system, a program on sago as alternative carbohydrates, and examples of climate-friendly foods. Let's have Dr. Kartini Shahrir first. She's a woman activist and a climate reality leader and a senior ministerial advisor. I would appreciate it very much if the Food for Earth team could run her video remarks.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to me today to give some remarks on women empowerment in blue economy to celebrate the Earth Day. Thank you to Future Food Institute based in Italy and the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization that invited me to this event. As we all know that according to Paris Agreement 2015, empowering women is one of the SDGs target to achieve. Women, like in our country, Indonesia, is a powerhouse for food security for the family as well as community. As the largest archipelagic country in the world, Indonesia economy should be very much depend upon and coming from the coastal area as well as from the ocean. Talking about the size of Indonesia, one may say that around 74% covered by sea. That is around 5.8 million square kilometers. And the rest consists of land area around 2.1 million square kilometers. And demographically speaking, there are around 140 million out of 265 millions Indonesia are living in coastal area. More information is available considering the geographical condition of Indonesia. One can say that Indonesia is the second longest coastline in the world, around 108,000 square kilometers, and also the largest coral reef, mangrove, and seagrass ecosystem on Earth. Indonesia is island state, which consists of more than 17,000 islands, and out of it, over than 16,000 are registered under the UN. There is also 308 of 514 district cities are located in coastal area. There are about 131.5 millions of women, and around 30% of them live in coastal area and engage in activities in blue economy. As Indonesia consists of over than around 415 ethnic groups that spread over from western part down to eastern part of Indonesia, and in which at least there are 15 ethnic group majority like the Javanese, the Sundanese, the Minangkabau, the Bataks, like the Balinese, the Kawanua, the Nias, the Dayak, and the Papua. These ethnic groups live based on their own tradition and rely on their living on it. One call it as local wisdom, local knowledge. Through local wisdom, the community manage their daily social economic activities. They learn how to survive based on local wisdom management from time to time, from generation to generation. The food security of the community, mostly based on local wisdom and local knowledge, especially for those who live in remote and rural areas, including coastal areas, where access to health, finance, and training facilities are lacking. Thanks to the government of President Jokowi, who built and still massively the physical infrastructure since 2015, like roads, bridge, ports, storage, etc., that ease the access for people to reach hospitals, health clinics, to go to better school, to have basic needs that for so long it's hard to get due to difficult transportation and access. In the coastal area, the situation is almost the same. People, especially women, rely their food security on local wisdom. One can say that women and the local knowledge is like coin with two sides which complement and integrate to each other, all of which occur due to the fact that women lack of access to health resources, lack of access to education and loan facilities. Facts findings about the role of women in Indonesia, especially in coastal area for food security, can be described as follows. This is what I have discussed and presented at the meeting at Columbia University, New York, September 2019, a year before the pandemic COVID-19. I said like this, that the role of women in fishing industry along the coastal region is hardly recognized. Their tasks are embedded with household activities. Therefore, access to government facilities almost never happen. Case in point, that in coastal area, you can imagine that women play a major role to generate income for family. They actively engage in fishing, making batik from leaves of mangrove, making snacks from mangrove, creating mangrove ecotourism like one may see in the village of Bangi, Rembang Regency, coastal area of Central Java, which I hope one day one of you can come and visit that place. Also, they are planting mangroves to support their economy. They make salt, selling fish at the local market, or salting and drying fish before selling them to the market, or helping the fishermen to offload the fish. These women still also help their husband preparing fishing equipment and supply. So many things they have done to help. But none of these activities get support from local government, neither recognized as paid job, simply because they are women. And these works are done around the household. Ladies and gentlemen, suffice it to say that for said women, the one and only tool available for them for families' economic survival is to rely and depend upon the so-called local wisdom, local knowledge. As long as access for job facilities like health, loan, training are not sufficiently available, such local knowledge and wisdom should be preserved and promoted. We do strongly recommend that government has to be involved and become strategic partners for all stakeholders to struggle for empowering women. Considering the nature of their activities in coastal area, one must create safety nets to make sure that they are safe from danger of sexual harassment and assault, since it is highly pronounced in some coastal areas in Indonesia. The role of local informal leaders and local government are equally important to prevent that kind of things from happening. Empowering women is an ongoing process, including women in coastal area. To give women their power impact involves changing their mentality from that of being powerless person into someone who has full authority of herself. It is together. Thank you very much and have a very nice and wonderful Earth Day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kartini Shahrir. Dr. Shahrir is also the lead negotiator for gender and climate change issues at the United Nations Climate Change Conference. The several COPs she has been involved with the negotiations, and she regularly visited remote areas of Indonesia to interact with women so that she can give voice to the voiceless. And next, we will have Ms. Eva Sulistiawati, who will be representing the wise foodways of the archipelago. I would like Eva to introduce herself and the program, and also about the concept of sustainable food system in Indonesia. Eva is already in.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
All right, perfect. I don't think I see myself in the screen. Let me just check for a second, Ibu Amanda.
Sure. There you go.
All right. All right. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. So today I'm presenting on behalf of the Local Harvest program, a program that are promoting a sustainable and equitable food system in Indonesia. If you got my presentation before, or I would just like to talk. If you want to present, then I can just say present, or I just can talk if you want to.
There is a share button down below. It says share. Next, if you can see it on your computer.
Let me see. Yep. Let me see where. Yep. Give me a second, Ibu.
Sure. And you can also talk while you're doing that if you can do multitasking, like we all do.
Give me a second because I'm based in Delhi, so the internet sometimes is not really in a good state. Just give me 2 minutes.
So, Wise Foodways of the Archipelago, or we call it Pangan Bijak Nusantara in Indonesia, is a coalition of several NGOs.
Yes. Okay, now I can share. Perfect. Share. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
And not yet, but maybe you can. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. We can see it. Local Harvest. You have
Okay,
10 minutes,
perfect.
Ibu. 10 minutes,
Yes,
please.
yes, thank you, Ibu Amanda Katili, for the time. Okay, like I'm Eva from HIFOS. I'm presenting the Local Harvest, promoting sustainable and equitable food systems in Indonesia. So the program itself funded and supported by the European Union. So we work with 4 partners, the Indigenous People Alliance of the Archipelago, WWF Indonesia, Non-Timber Forest Product Actions Program Indonesia, and Association for Assistance to Women in Small Business. So the Local Harvest Consortium, we got this common visions with the consortium to promote through the Parara transformation toward local, sustainable, and equitable food system for producers and consumers in Indonesia. Like I said before, this is supported by the European Union through the Switch Asia program. So we are sharing a commitment to ensure the dimension of the equity, rights, culturally appropriateness, participation integrated to the food system. So we got this inclusive food value chains that generates more values for the all actors. And we believe we can create benefits for those groups that often like marginalized and vulnerable, which is that including the indigenous people, women, poor, and other groups. And for sure, the transition in the food system needs to retain more value at the local level. So if you may know, like by 2050, well, the billions of population is really need for foods, and the current state of the food system and the nature loss, like state by the fact. Like for example, in 2019, Eat Lancet Commission says that global food production threatens the climate stability and ecosystem resilience. So that's already constituted the single major drivers for the environmental degradations. And another fact is that, well, Global Assessment Report on the State of Nature, 2019, like point the similar like negative impact of the agriculture and food consumptions. And the other one, like I said before, the increasing of population will be result in increase of food consumptions. While the agriculture and forest land is still there, like it's not increasing, but it's changing. So if we go to Indonesia, we, like Ibu Amanda says in the beginning, we have the great potential of term rich and diverse food supply from local resources that can be developed as the basis for food security in the long term. But also we have our local agro-biodiversity of food source, like cultivars, seed cultivars, and so on, along with the traditional knowledge of our farmers and other small-scale producers. If you see the types that we have in Indonesia, across Indonesia, in 2018, our Food Security Agency mentioned about 77 types of carbohydrates source of plants. And we have more than 110 types of herbs and spices, which is that's way more in diverse in Indonesia to be supplied for the local resources. So if we go to the local harvest, we believe local harvest to transform the food systems and maintains its resilience. So the local harvest is securing the food availability and the quality nutrition for all needs, a new governance and transformation of the food system through the relocalization. Changes in food consumption, production, and distribution are essential to ensure that food sources are available for us today and for the future generations. And you may agree with me, biodiversity is essential to a sustainable and inclusive food production. Well, nature positive food system. And also we can say that valuing local diets and the cultural dimension of foods. And also we believe that relocalizing the food system and reconnecting with the nature to secure its sustainability and build much needed resilience to the current challenge. So what we do is we got the 4 principles. If you see the left line, you can see that we have 3 major activities. The first one is multi-year public campaign. The second one, transforming production and marketing, building, and the third one, building multi-stakeholder platforms for the policy making. And we campaign on our principles is local, healthy, fair, and sustainable. Wise Foodways of the Archipelago is a multi-year public campaign to promote sustainable and ethical production and consumption. So we'll support the local, sustainable, fair, and healthy food system. So the word wise was chosen to reflect our 4 principles. So if you see local means the diversity of food sources in Indonesia, which ensure the food security and food sovereignty at local level. Healthy food system that is a balance with nature ensure the fertility of the soil and limits the chemical input. Food that is safe for the body is
Do we lost Eva? Maybe while we're waiting for her, she has a few more minutes left. I've been interacting with the producers in the Wise Food Ways of Archipelago network, and they're all so conversant. They're eloquent farmers, and they really understand about the issue of sustainable food system, especially using their traditional practices. And the Wise Food Ways of the Archipelago help connect the artisanal producers with consumers, as well as with those who would like to interact with them, understanding more and knowing about the practices in the area. Let's see if we can still get Eva in. If not, maybe we'll give her some time later after the other speakers. If we now can have Reza Ramadan, Mr. Reza Ramadan on the screen, that would be great. Can we have Reza on screen? There you go.
Good morning. Good morning, Bu Amanda.
Hi.
How are you?
Can you start with your exciting program?
Sure, let me just share the screen. Right.
If you can multitask, you can speak while you're trying to set up your screen.
Can you see the screen? Then still, all right. Just let me to greet everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon. Happy Earth Day for all of us. My name is Reza from EVO Indonesia. While waiting the screen, okay, maybe will take some time, but it's okay. Thank you, Bu Amanda, for inviting me. Thank you for Future Food Institute and EVO. Thank you for allowing me present one of the flagship project in Indonesia about sagu. Sagu itself, it's one of the I can say it an ancient commodity in Indonesia because been used for centuries in Indonesia, and there you are. I think All right.
That's the screen, but we don't see your slides. We see us.
Is that good to go, Bu Amanda?
But that's your screen share.
The,
Yes, there you go.
okay. There you go. Okay. Let me. So it's an online and troubleshooting might happen. So is that okay if I'm just scrolling the presentation because I cannot share the full screen of the slide?
It's okay. We can see the slides. It can be like that. That's fine.
Okay, cool. Okay, so okay, I don't want to waste the time while waiting this slide to be scroll up. So yeah, the FAO Indonesia, we collaborate and work with the Ministry of Agriculture, started in 2016. And then we have a mandate how we can find and promote it, an alternative carbohydrate source for communities or the nations itself. And then we start with mitigating one of the valuable commodity in Indonesia, which is called sagu. Sagu itself, it's been here for such a long time, and then, but when we start in 2016, the condition, at least in our pilot project in Southeast Sulawesi, the sagu itself, it's not in a maybe I can say it's not in good condition because there's no good agriculture practices there. And then sagu itself, maybe we can underline this. And then sagu, it's a subsistence in farmers' mind because they will let sagu for grow like for 8 to 9 years, and then they will harvest it for. And then after that, waiting for 8 to 9 years, and then they will cut the trees and then cut into smaller logs like 60 to 70 centimeters, and then afterwards they will crush it, crush the logs with small facility that they will build nomadically because they will move from. It's not permanent. It's not a temp. It's a temporary facility that they build with what they will find in the jungle, like bamboo sticks, something like that, and then they will crush the logs into a very simple machinery with help from water that they can gather from the river, which is not hygiene. And then after that, another burden is in the downstream, because the sagu itself in a very limited utilization, because they only use for making sagu porridge, or they call it sinonggi in Southeast Sulawesi, and then also a limited use for cookies, making cookies. We FAO and Ministry of Agriculture will try to mitigate what happened in the value chain from the upper stream to the downstream in sagu production, and then we try to make everything a little bit better. So what we've done in the project, we do a series of trainings for the farmers in the upper stream in Konawe and Konawe Selatan, because in Konawe and Konawe Selatan a lot of sagu field, so they have a lot of potentials. So we teach them how to conduct good agricultural practices for sagu, and how to cultivate sagu more sustainable. And then after that, the farmers in Konawe and Konawe Selatan produce purely from cultivate the trunks into sagu flour. And then after that, they will domestically trade to a women's group in Kendari city to produce an end product to sell to the end market. And then what we can see after years of implementation, we can see a huge difference because from in the previous condition, there is no sagu garden exists. They call it sagu jungle because it's dense, it's dark, and then after 2 or 3 years implementation of the project, we can see that a huge difference in the sagu field because they now, the farmers, I mean, they call it sagu garden because it's beautiful inside because we built a canal, water canal for water management. And then we also try to keeping a distance between one tree to another tree. And then after that, we also teach the farmers how to replanting it. So we learn, we teach them to how to do the nursery for the sagu trees. And not stopping there, we also built 2 mini factories in Konawe and Konawe Selatan. So it's permanent facility. So we expect that with the permanent facility, the farmers can produce the sagu more sustainably, more hygiene, with good manufacturing practices imply. So they will crush the logs with filtered water and then cleaner compartment or sections to dry the sagu and sell them to the woman farmer group in Kendari. And then we realized that how to make it sustainable because there are at least 3 business units in Konawe Selatan, and then for Kendari city. And then we realized that we need to build a viable business units. So we tried to gather them, those 3 business units into one. So we merged them into one viable business units called Sagu Meambo Food with Saguku as their final product. And then we can happily say that after years of implementation, the utilization of sagu becoming more useful because they are not only used in a limited usage, but they can previously they only produce cookies. Now they can produce chips, noodles, and many things that will attract the market. And then we can happily say that Saguku, the brand that maintained by the woman farmer group, is they sold the product now in almost every part of Indonesia. And we also happy that because after years of project implementation, between EVEO and EVEO Indonesia and the Ministry of Agriculture, the spirit is not stopping there, not only in Sagu, not only in Southeast Sulawesi, but also after that, the Ministry of Agriculture through the Food Security Agency or BKP, Badan Ketahanan Pangan, they try to scale up with the same approach, with the same blueprint, into more than 50 points in Indonesia to promote carbohydrate source beside rice. For example, sweet potato, cassava, and many more like sorghum as well, with the same approach like what we did in Sagu in our TCP project for Sagu in Southeast Sulawesi. So we can happily say right now that what we did from our mandate for finding and promoting the utilization of alternative food. Now we can happy that it's not only stopping in one place, but also escalate in another place. But not, and also not only the Ministry of Agriculture, but also the coordinating Ministry of Economy, Kemenko Perekonomian, also have the same, almost the same project that will support the development of alternative carbohydrate source in Indonesia. I think that's all, Bu Amanda, that I can share. I'm really apologize for the troubleshooting from the presentation, but I hope what I can share, what I'm just sharing, can be a good takeaways from today global marathon for Earth Day. Thank you, Bu Amanda.
Thank you, Reza. This is a very good example of collaboration between the FAO, the government of Indonesia, as well as some communities there. Now, if people would like to have more information on your project and activities, where can they go? Any social media or websites that we could refer to?
I think it's because it's FAO Indonesia work, and then it's official and it's already finished. We have a terminal report or final report of the project that you can access through the fao.org/Indonesia.
Okay.
You can find the terminal report.
Yeah, because it's very interesting. We really would like to know the challenges and the achievements as well, because it could be replicated in other commodities or other areas. We only have like 18 minutes left. I would like to ask Melati Batubara to present her exciting choices of climate-friendly foods.
Hello, Ibu. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this Global 24-Hour Digital Marathon on Sustainability Food for Earth. I think this is a very exciting event. And I know I have 10 minutes. Let me try to share the screen. Okay. Okay.
This is a sophisticated platform.
Yeah, this is something new. So I think I need to sort of like learning. Okay. Some skills education.
So
Okay.
while waiting, can you do it while waiting? I'll inform you that May is an architect, but she's now a culinary expert. Yes, there you go.
Okay, yay. Okay. So thank you, Ibu. So we are. I'm going to share about the topics of Indonesia, which is climate change, is at the end of your talk. So basically, I think Ibu Amanda and also Ibu Kar already share about Indonesia, but this is a nice quote that I would like to share in this session. How we grow food has enormous effect on the environment, climate change, as well as pollution on air, water, and soil. This is by Marion Nessel. So this is the base thinking of what I'm going to share today. So like what Ibu Amanda shared and also Ibu Kara about Indonesia, we have more than 17,000 islands. We have so many cultures, especially food cultures around Indonesia. I think in a past discussion in a future food, we are also sharing about our traditional culture, food culture, which is actually very sustainable. So I would like to sort of resharing some points from that presentation today. So this is the question: how to eat more sustainable. I'm going to separate that into how we grow our food and then how we process our food, especially in the context of Indonesia. So the first one is how we do conservation agriculture, which is actually this is already in Indonesia traditional values. The first values that actually has been done for centuries is organic. Indonesia traditional agriculture has been always organic. So when I visit a lot of regions in Indonesia, and some most of the regions actually they are still on doing traditional agriculture, which is organic. So they don't use chemical at all. Sadly, they are not able to do organic certification due on budget and financial and also access, and because in order to get the organic certification, usually it is in English, so they are not capable on doing that. But most of Indonesian traditional agriculture is very much organic. And then second value, actually free range, and also crop diversity and rotation, respecting the soil, and holistic pest management. I have okay. This is the slide. So I share about organic. So about crop diversity and rotation, basically in the traditional agriculture of Indonesia, we have this sort of way of rotating the crop. So if we call the earth as Mother Earth, so mother who give birth to our food. So our traditional culture actually respecting that. So we think the Mother Earth needs to rest after they're giving birth. So basically, after one crop to another crop, there's been a time management of rotating the crop, and also the diversity. So I think this is due to respecting the soil. This way of respecting the soil actually goes all the way until like there's a way of people in traditional way saying hi, or greeting the earth. Like they take off the shoes in the morning when they go to the farms. So this is how we traditionally respecting the earth. So the connection between we human and the earth who are giving birth to our food is very deep in our traditional culture. And this is something that actually very beautiful and very interesting, and not many people in the modern way, in the modern living modern time, knows this way of living. And I think this is something that we need to learn from our ancestor, and expose these values more in our modern life. And another thing is free range. It is very common for our traditional farmer to sort of like setting free the livestock. And actually, there's not only one. There are many. Like one farmers could have like more than 20s or 30s buffaloes or cows. They basically live free, and somehow in the end of the day, they can find a way back home. So this is also very interesting. I know the free range now is becoming trend in the Western, but knowing that actually in Indonesia and in our traditional culture, the free range a way of doing the livestock is actually has been applied for centuries. So they are happy, like you can see in the picture, it's a happy buffalo. So, and then another thing is holistic pest management. This is also very interesting because some of the people, some of the traditional ethnicity, we don't see pest as a pest. So it's for example, there are certain culture who are still running the harvesting time based on the astronomy, and to certain time when they need to stop harvesting, they simply stop. So whatever left in the land is belong to the other being. So basically this is how this is why the mouse or the mice, they don't come to the house, or they don't come to eat the rice or the paddy that kept in the barn, because they already have food. This is how. And sometimes they don't we don't call it pest, uh, like most people believe that mouse is a pest, but these people, they don't call it pest. They simply recognize them as a human, as a living being who need also food. And this is how we share living share earth to other living beings. So I think this is a very beautiful way of seeing past, or we don't call they don't call it past. And also people are we are very common to eat insects. I know insects is now thought as a future food, but this is also has been running in our culture for centuries. And this is also how we manage to sort of like controlling insects in the farming land. So we people are eating the insects in the farmland and use it as a source of protein. Yeah, so I think this is there are actually other many other ways also on managing the past in a more sustainable way. Um, and also regarding the earth-friendly cooking, other than how we grow our food, but how we cook our food, there are sustainable ways in Indonesia that has been done in centuries. So the first one is plant-based. As you can see in the pictures, it is this is the harvest. So one day harvest by the ladies in the village. In this one is in West Kalimantan, in Katingan village. Basically, they are showing us when we came to the village. This is what we harvest, and most of it are vegetable. So uh, like I explained in the agriculture, basically they're growing diverse plants in the land, in the farm. So it's not like a modern farming. It's basically like a land of small forests of food. So so it's very nice. They usually say to us, they told us that we might not have much money, but we can eat 7 times a day, which is true. So and they are all organic, they are all super healthy. So most of Indonesian recipes menus is actually plant-based. And like what Pak Reza said, we're not only depending on rice, but people here they eat bananas, cassavas as a staple food, and it's been like that. So it's not always eating rice. So plant-based. I know vegan moving or vegetarian moving now in the world is rising very quickly, and we recognize the effect of cow farming or so basically Indonesia has been always sustainable, has been always plant-based, because most of our food is plant-based. We do eat protein, but mostly from a fish, either freshwater fish, or for those who lives on the coast, basically it's seafood, fish, mostly fish. So this is so beef and the livestock usually serve or cut or during feast, only feast, like once a year or twice a year. So we don't really eat beef or also chicken, but mostly we eat fish. And the second one is organic. Most of the plants grows in organic land, organic farm. So these people are living a very healthy life that actually people in the city would pay a lot. But this is what the Mother Earth serves them around their house. So it's
1 minute. We have 1 minute.
Oh, Well, and then another one is farm to table. This is exactly a good example of farm to table, and they have this traditional waste management, which actually the waste of food, either they serve it to the livestock. It's sometimes they serve it to, they have pig as a livestock, or they have catfish in the pool. So they basically they throw all the waste to the livestock. So it's a very so it's a zero waste zero waste of cooking. And then the last thing is clean energy cooking. It's good to know that the people in the village now have good access to gas, because before that they've been doing more to using wood, and it's affecting their health, especially for ibu-ibu. They have issues with health. So knowing that they are now moving to gas for clean energy cooking is a good news as in here now in Indonesia. This is actually a recipe. I have recipe. I don't know if I have time, Ibu.
We'll share it on the social media because we have
Oh,
to
okay.
30 seconds.
Okay, Ibu.
Thank
Yeah.
you always for
Thank
your
you.
information. And of course, we would like to thank Future Food Institute for always involving us in their program. And for those of you who would like to know more about Eva's Wise Foodways of the Archipelago, you can just Google it and you can easily find the programs. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
you very
It's always great to have you, Amanda, with us. We are so proud of our climate shapers around the world that are really showing every single day with actions, with youth, empowering people really to take this move that is needed to care about the planet. Thank you so much, Amanda. And thank you all from Indonesia for sharing those insightful stories and best practices. Bravo!